Success doesn't start in your bank account, your job title, or your achievements. It starts in one place: your mind. Because no matter how talented, skilled, or resourceful you are, if your mind isn't trained to win, the world will train you to lose. This is Wisdom in Minutes Audiobooks, and today you're about to unlock the truth most people never learn. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your mindset. Every battle you face in life, stress, doubt, failure, rejection, begins in your thoughts. The strongest people aren't those who never struggle. They're the ones who've learned how to control their inner voice. When life throws pressure your way, they don't panic. They pause. They don't react emotionally. They respond intelligently. Because real strength isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about mastering your emotions so that no situation can control you. When your mind is calm, you make better choices. When your focus is unshakable, even chaos becomes clarity. Rewiring your mind starts with awareness. Every time you think, "I can't," replace it with, "How can I?" When doubt whispers, "What if you fail?" answer with, "What if I fly?" Because your reality follows your most dominant thoughts. Feed your mind with weakness, and you'll live in fear. Feed it with belief, and you'll start to win before the battle even begins. Pressure doesn't break you. It reveals you. And the moment you stop seeing challenges as problems and start seeing them as training, life changes. Every setback becomes a signal to grow stronger. Every rejection becomes redirection. Every failure becomes feedback. That's how champions think. They don't avoid the storm. They learn how to navigate through it. They build habits that serve their future, not their comfort. They know that success isn't built in comfort zones, it's built in resistance. So, take a deep breath. Focus your energy. And remember, you are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are what you decide to become right now. Train your mind to believe before the evidence appears. Train your emotions to stay calm when everything shakes. Train your focus to see opportunity in the middle of chaos. Because when you master your mind, you master your world. Success begins long before the applause, the spotlight, or the recognition. It starts in silence. In the conversations you have with yourself when no one is watching. The truth is simple but powerful. Your mind is your greatest ally or your deadliest enemy. Every word you whisper internally shapes the person you become externally. When your inner dialogue is filled with fear, hesitation, or doubt, your potential is quietly suffocated before it even has a chance to breathe. But when your inner voice is strong, disciplined, and focused on belief rather than limitation, you become unstoppable. Every champion you admire, every leader, every achiever, every visionary, has mastered one essential skill. They have learned to command their inner voice. They've trained it like a muscle, strengthened it through challenge, and refined it through struggle. Because the mind, when untrained, is like an unguarded gate. It lets in everything. Negativity, distraction, insecurity, comparison. They all flood in if you don't take control. But when you train your thoughts with intention, when you consciously decide what kind of language you will allow inside your head, you begin to take control of your destiny. Think about it. How many times have you talked yourself out of an opportunity? Not because you weren't capable, but because your mind convinced you that you weren't ready. That quiet whisper that says, "You can't," "You're not enough," or "It's too late" has destroyed more dreams than failure ever could. And here's the truth that most people never realize: you will always believe the voice you hear most often. So if your inner voice is negative, critical, and fearful, that becomes your truth. But if you start replacing those words with courage, resilience, and confidence, your truth begins to change. The power to rewrite your story doesn't come from luck or motivation. It comes from repetition. Every single day, you have the power to program your mind with new thoughts, new beliefs, and new standards. The same way you train your body through exercise, you train your mind through intentional language. When you wake up, the first voice you hear should be one that empowers you. I can handle anything that comes today. I am in control of my emotions. I have everything I need to win. These aren't just affirmations. They are mental commands that tell your brain what kind of day you're going to create. Here's the secret most people miss: your mind doesn't respond to truth. It responds to repetition. Tell yourself something long enough, and your brain starts to believe it. That's why negative thinking feels so natural. You've been rehearsing it for years, but the moment you flip the script and start speaking with power and certainty, your brain starts to adapt. You begin to build confidence, not because the world changed, but because you did. There will be days when your inner critic screams louder than your inner coach. You'll feel tired, uncertain, maybe even lost. But in those moments, remember this: your inner voice is the architect of your reality. Speak weakness and you'll live weak. Speak strength and you'll start to rise. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about choosing which truth you want to feed. You can either focus on what's missing, or you can focus on what's possible. You can either surrender to fear, or you can stand firm in faith. The decision happens inside your head before it ever happens in your life. Every word you think, every thought you repeat, is either building you or breaking you. The question is, what are you building? When you start telling yourself, "I can do this," "I'm prepared for this," "I'm stronger than this moment," you begin to see the world differently. Challenges start to look like opportunities. Setbacks start to feel like lessons. The same problems that once crushed your confidence now become the training ground for your growth. And that's the ultimate power. Not controlling the world around you, but mastering the world within you. When your inner voice becomes your greatest supporter, nothing outside you can defeat you. The person who learns to win in their mind becomes unstoppable in life. So guard your thoughts. Speak to yourself like someone worth believing in, because you are. Your mind listens. Make sure it's hearing the language of victory, not defeat. The moment you master your inner voice, your outer world begins to follow. Anyone can stay calm when life is easy, when everything flows smoothly, and when circumstances are in their favor. But the real measure of strength isn't revealed when the sun is shining. It's revealed in the storm. The true test of character begins when pressure rises, when uncertainty surrounds you, and when emotions threaten to take control. That's where winners separate themselves from the rest. Not by what they do, but by how they respond. The most powerful people in the world aren't those who control others, they're the ones who have learned to control themselves. Imagine this: two people face the same crisis. One panics, reacts emotionally, and makes rash decisions. The other pauses, takes a deep breath, observes the situation, and acts with clarity. Same problem, different outcomes. Because of one thing: emotional control. Your emotions are energy, and energy can either be chaos or power. When left unchecked, emotions will drag you into confusion, impulsive reactions, and regret. But when you learn to manage them, they become fuel, a source of focus, confidence, and strength. The truth is, emotions are not the enemy. Fear, anger, frustration, they're all part of being human. The problem begins when you let them drive. When emotions take the steering wheel, logic disappears. You say things you don't mean. You make choices that don't serve your future. You sabotage relationships, decisions, and opportunities. Not because you're weak, but because you never learned to pause before reacting. Real power begins in the pause. That one breath between what happens to you and how you respond to it. That's where your freedom lies. Every great leader, every high performer, every person who thrives under pressure has mastered this space. They don't deny their emotions, they direct them. They feel fear, but they move anyway. They feel anger, but they choose patience. They feel doubt, but they act with faith. This is what separates emotional maturity from emotional slavery. Emotional maturity means acknowledging your feelings, but refusing to be controlled by them. It means saying, I feel this, but this doesn't define my next move. You've probably noticed that the moments you regret most in life come from reacting too fast. The words you can't take back. The decisions you made out of frustration. The opportunities you missed because you let fear speak louder than reason. That's what happens when you live in reaction mode. Your emotions become the master, and you become the servant. But when you train yourself to step back, observe, and respond with intention, your emotions become tools rather than traps. You start to guide your own energy instead of being guided by it. Think of your emotions like waves. You can't stop the ocean from moving, but you can learn to surf. When you resist the wave, you get knocked down. When you flow with it, you find balance. The same applies to life. You can't control every situation, but you can always control how you show up. Calmness is not weakness, it's mastery. It's the quiet confidence that says, no matter what's happening, I decide how I feel. That mindset gives you authority over your life in a way that nothing else can. When you stay calm under pressure, people trust you more. Opportunities come your way because you project certainty. Even in chaos, you become the steady center, the person who brings clarity when others bring confusion. That's leadership. That's strength. The world doesn't need more people who react. It needs more people who respond. The difference is subtle but powerful. Reacting is automatic. It's survival. Responding is intentional. It's mastery. Training emotional control doesn't mean suppressing what you feel. It means observing without attachment. Feel the emotion fully, understand why it's there, and then choose how to act. When anger rises, ask yourself, what's this really about? When fear whispers, you'll fail. Answer calmly, maybe, but I'll learn. When stress builds, remind yourself, this pressure is temporary, but my purpose is permanent. That shift in thinking gives you the power to move through storms without losing yourself in them. Life will always test you. People will say things that hurt. Circumstances will shake you. Plans will fall apart, but your ability to control your emotions will determine how quickly you rise again. Emotional control doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. It gives you the ability to face chaos with clarity and to stay centered when everything else is spinning. When you master this, you no longer waste energy on panic or anger. You channel it into action and progress. So the next time pressure hits, don't run from it. Breathe, pause, observe. Then move forward with calm determination. The world belongs to those who can stay composed when everything around them falls apart. Power isn't in controlling the storm. It's in controlling yourself within it. Once you command your emotions, you command your life, and that's when nothing and no one can take your peace away. Every setback has a story to tell, not about your failure, but about your growth. The truth is, the difference between those who rise and those who fall isn't luck or talent. It's how they view adversity. Most people see challenges as signs to stop, but winners see them as signals to grow. Every obstacle is a test, not of your ability, but of your mindset. It's the universe asking, how bad do you really want this? And in that moment, your response determines everything. You can either retreat into comfort or rise into purpose. The choice is always yours. When life hits hard, and it will, it's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to develop you. The very pain you curse today is the same pain that will strengthen you tomorrow. Every successful person has faced rejection, disappointment, and failure. But what separates them is their perspective. They don't see a wall, they see a lesson. They don't focus on what went wrong, they focus on what they can learn. Because the truth is, success doesn't come from avoiding failure. It comes from learning how to use it. Think about a time you were rejected or told no. In that moment, it probably felt like the end. But look back now. Wasn't it actually a redirection? What you thought was the worst thing that could happen often turns out to be the best thing that could have happened. The job you didn't get pushed you toward your passion. The relationship that ended gave you the space to rediscover yourself. The plan that failed forced you to create a better one. Life's detours are rarely mistakes. They're preparation, but only those with the right mindset can see it that way. Here's the truth most people don't want to accept. Growth never feels like growth while it's happening. It feels like pressure. It feels like pain. It feels uncomfortable, uncertain, even unfair. But diamonds are formed under pressure, and muscles are built through resistance. You don't become stronger by avoiding difficulty. You become stronger by enduring it. Every time you face a challenge and keep moving forward, you're rewiring your brain for resilience. You're teaching yourself, I can handle this. And that belief becomes the foundation for everything you do next. When you fail, you have two choices: focus on what broke you or focus on what it taught you. Failure is not a verdict, it's feedback. It's life saying, not this way. Try again. Learn, adjust, evolve. Every successful entrepreneur, athlete, or artist has a long history of falling short. But they all share one common trait: they don't quit when it gets hard. They adapt. They see setbacks not as an end, but as a beginning. That's what resilience really means. Not avoiding pain, but transforming it into progress. The secret to turning setbacks into setups lies in your story. Most people tell themselves stories of defeat. I can't do this. I always fail. Nothing works out for me. But those stories keep you stuck. The moment you rewrite that story, the moment you say, this is teaching me, this is preparing me, this is building me, You start to regain control. Your circumstances no longer define you, your response does. You start to see the bigger picture, and the pain becomes purpose. Every setback carries a hidden gift, but you can't see it while you're focused on what you lost. You only find it when you ask better questions. What is this moment teaching me? What can I take from this that will make me stronger next time? That's the mindset that turns adversity into advantage. Because once you understand that life is happening for you, not to you, everything changes. You stop complaining and start growing. You stop blaming and start building. You stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as power. Think about the greatest comebacks in history. Athletes who were counted out, leaders who failed publicly, dreamers who started from nothing. What do they all have in common? They didn't give up when things went wrong. They refused to let one bad chapter define their entire story. They used the pain as fuel, the failure as feedback, and the pressure as preparation. That's what greatness looks like. The ability to keep going when logic says stop. When you shift your perspective, even the hardest moments become meaningful. The setback becomes a setup for something bigger, stronger, wiser. The key is patience, understanding that growth is invisible at first. You don't see the strength being built inside you until one day you look back and realize the very thing that tried to break you became the reason you're unbreakable. So when you're facing failure, rejection, or loss, remember this: you're not being punished. You're being prepared. You're not stuck. You're being strengthened. The storm you're in today is shaping you for a victory you can't yet see. And when you come out the other side, calmer, wiser, tougher, you'll understand why it had to happen that way. Life was never against you. It was always training you to rise higher. Doubt is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't arrive with noise or warning. It creeps in quietly, whispering in the back of your mind, making you question what you once believed possible. It tells you that you're not ready, that you don't belong, that you'll never be good enough. It's subtle, persuasive, and relentless. But here's the truth most people never realize. Doubt is not a reflection of your limits. It's a reflection of your mindset. The problem isn't that you don't have what it takes. It's that you've started believing the voice that says you don't. The real battle isn't against failure. It's against disbelief in yourself. Every great success story begins with someone who refused to listen to that voice. Someone who stood up and said, "Maybe I'm not there yet, but I will be." Because belief is not about being certain. It's about being committed. It's about holding faith, even when evidence hasn't shown up yet. Doubt destroys more dreams than failure ever could, because it stops you from even trying. Failure teaches, but doubt paralyzes. And the only way to silence doubt is through action. Not talking, not wishing, but doing. Every time you take a step forward, even a small one, you weaken doubt's grip. Because doubt feeds on hesitation. The longer you wait, the louder it grows. But when you move forward despite it, when you act in faith, doubt begins to lose its power. You prove to yourself that you can, and suddenly the impossible starts to feel achievable. The mind begins to believe what the body demonstrates. Confidence isn't something you find, it's something you build. And you build it every time you do what fear tells you not to. Think about how many opportunities people lose because they let self-doubt make decisions for them. that dream job they never applied for, that business idea they never started, that goal they talked themselves out of. Not because they lacked skill, but because they lacked belief. The voice of doubt is sneaky. It sounds logical. It says, be realistic. Wait for the right time. You're not ready yet. But the truth is, the right time doesn't exist. There's only now. And if you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. The most successful people you see, the ones you admire, they weren't free of doubt. They just refused to let it dictate their direction. They acted while they were scared. They spoke when their voice shook. They started before they knew everything. Because courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. The people who win in life don't have less fear. They have more faith. They believe that even if they fall, they'll rise stronger. They understand that doubt is just a test. And they choose to pass it by taking action anyway. Self-doubt often comes from comparison. You look at someone else's success and think, they're better. They have more. They started earlier. But comparison kills progress, because it tricks you into believing someone else's timeline is supposed to be yours. Everyone's path is different. Your story is being written uniquely for you. And it doesn't need to look like anyone else's. The only person you should be competing with is the version of you from yesterday. Growth is personal. And when you stop comparing and start focusing, your confidence grows naturally. There will always be people who doubt you, and that's okay. Their disbelief doesn't define you unless you let it. People project their fears, their insecurities, their limitations. When someone says, you can't, what they really mean is, I couldn't. So never internalize someone else's limitations. Protect your belief the way you'd protect something priceless. Because it is. Once belief breaks, it's hard to rebuild. But when you guard it, nurture it, and feed it daily with positivity, resilience, and progress, it becomes unshakable. You have to learn to become your own encourager. Don't wait for someone else to validate you. Tell yourself, I am capable. I am worthy. I am becoming better every day. The world outside you will always test your belief, but if the voice inside you is strong enough, nothing external can destroy you. That's why mental training is more important than any skill. Because a trained mind can turn even the smallest opportunity into victory. Remember this. Doubt will always exist, but it doesn't have to win. Every great achievement begins with belief. Even when no one else can see the vision, you must be the first to believe. When you act from belief, the world starts to respond. Doors open, people appear, momentum builds. What once felt impossible starts to unfold naturally. Because belief is energy. It attracts, it creates, it manifests. So when that voice of doubt whispers again, don't argue with it. Outwork it. Don't let fear make your decisions. Let faith do it. When you break the cycle of self-doubt, you free yourself from the limits that never really existed. You stop existing in survival mode and start living in creation mode. You stop waiting for permission and start giving it to yourself. And from that moment on, your life begins to move forward with unstoppable force. Success doesn't arrive in a single grand moment. It's built quietly, one disciplined decision at a time. Every morning you wake up, you are faced with a choice to act in alignment with your goals or to drift toward your comfort. The truth is, most people fail not because they lack potential, but because they lack consistency. They wait for motivation, they chase inspiration, and they wonder why results never come. But success doesn't respond to emotion, it responds to habit. Every small action you take, every routine you build, every commitment you keep to yourself. That's where greatness is forged. Habits are the architects of destiny. They shape your identity long before you see any result. You don't become disciplined overnight. You become disciplined by doing the small, boring, necessary things every single day until they become a part of who you are. Winners understand this. They don't rely on how they feel, they rely on what they've trained themselves to do. They know that emotion is temporary, but structure is permanent. That's why successful people don't wait to feel ready. They create readiness through repetition. Think about it. Your life right now is a reflection of your habits. Your energy, your confidence, your mindset, your results. They're all built by the actions you've repeated over time. If your habits are weak, your results will always reflect it. But if your habits are strong, nothing can stop your growth. It's not the big leaps that change your life, it's the small steps done consistently when no one's watching. Every choice you make is a vote for the person you want to become. When you hit snooze, you're voting for comfort. When you get up early and move toward your goals, you're voting for progress. Most people give up because they expect instant results. They want the reward before they've earned the resilience. But discipline demands patience. There's a delay between effort and outcome, and that's where most people quit. The ones who succeed are those who stay consistent, even when the reward isn't visible yet. They understand that every day they train, they're building invisible strength, the kind that only shows when it's tested. They don't look for perfection, they look for progress, and that mindset changes everything. Discipline isn't punishment, it's a promise to your future self. It's saying, I'll do what's necessary today, so I can live freely tomorrow. Every time you resist distraction, every time you follow through on your plan, every time you say no to instant gratification, you're saying yes to long-term growth. You're separating yourself from the crowd. Because the average person is driven by comfort, but the exceptional person is driven by vision, and vision requires sacrifice. You can't have the results of the disciplined while living the habits of the distracted. It's easy to talk about dreams. It's hard to show up for them daily. That's why most people never reach their full potential. They start strong but fade fast because discipline isn't exciting. It's repetitive. It's showing up when it's inconvenient, when you're tired, when no one is cheering for you. But that's exactly where self-respect is built. When you keep your promises to yourself, you build trust within, and that trust becomes the foundation of unstoppable confidence. You begin to believe in yourself not because someone told you to, but because your actions prove it. The magic of habits is that they compound. One small good choice today creates momentum for the next. Over time, those choices become automatic, and what once required effort becomes your new normal. That's when life starts to shift. Not because everything around you changed, but because you changed. You've trained your mind to prioritize what matters over what's easy. You've shifted from chasing comfort to chasing purpose. You've stopped negotiating with excuses. And that's the turning point that transforms ordinary into extraordinary. There will be days when you don't feel like it. days when your mind screams to take it easy, when discipline feels like a burden. But that's when you must remember, consistency is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You don't need to do everything right, you just need to keep showing up. Because the more you show up, the stronger the habit becomes, and the less power excuses have over you. Each time you push through resistance, you strengthen your willpower, and that willpower eventually turns into identity. The people who win in life are not the most talented. They're the most disciplined. They've mastered the art of doing what others avoid. They've built habits that align with their vision, and they protect those habits with everything they have. Because they know every small act of discipline adds up. The workout, the reading, the focus, the planning, the patience. Over time, these small, consistent acts form a foundation so strong that nothing can shake it. So if you want to transform your life, don't start with the dream. Start with the daily. Start with one powerful habit, then another, and another. Let your actions define you, because motivation may get you started, but habits will keep you going when motivation fades. Every day you stay disciplined, you're proving to yourself that you can be trusted with success. And when you master that level of consistency, success doesn't become a question of if, it becomes a matter of when. Focus is the hidden superpower that most people never learn to master. In a world overflowing with noise, distractions, and constant stimulation, your ability to concentrate has become your greatest competitive advantage. Most people don't fail because they lack opportunity. They fail because they're too distracted to recognize it. They chase everything and catch nothing. But the truth is simple. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. If your attention is scattered, your progress will always be limited. But when your focus is sharp and intentional, even the biggest challenges begin to bend in your favor. Every great achievement in history began with a mind locked in on one thing. The innovators, the leaders, the artists, the athletes, they all understood one truth. You can't master what you don't give your full attention to. Focus isn't just about what you look at, it's about what you refuse to look away from. It's the discipline of choosing what matters most and letting go of everything that doesn't. It's about silencing the noise so you can hear your own purpose more clearly. The problem today isn't that people don't dream big. It's that they try to pursue 100 dreams at once. When your attention is divided, your effort loses power. Imagine trying to light a fire with scattered sparks. The flame never catches. But if you concentrate all that energy in one place, it ignites. That's what focus does. It turns average effort into unstoppable force. Most people never experience their full potential because they never give themselves permission to go all in. They start, stop, restart, and wonder why they're always stuck at the beginning. Success requires depth, not distraction. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters with complete clarity. Focus begins with clarity of purpose. You can't stay focused on something vague. You need a target that excites you, challenges you, and gives meaning to your work. Once you know what truly matters, everything else becomes noise. The more clear your vision, the easier it becomes to say no to what doesn't serve it. Distraction loses power when direction is strong. But when you don't have direction, everything looks like an opportunity. And that's when focus dies. The modern world is built to steal your attention. Every app, every notification, Every piece of content is designed to pull you away from your priorities. Your phone is the thief of your dreams if you don't learn to control it. You have to become intentional about your mental environment. Protect your focus like it's gold, because it is. Turn off distractions. Guard your time. Schedule silence, because in silence you can hear the voice of clarity that noise always drowns out. Focus isn't about working harder. It's about working with precision. It's doing the right thing at the right time with full presence. When you focus deeply, you enter a state of flow where time disappears, creativity heightens, and performance peaks. In that state, you're not thinking about the past or worrying about the future. You're fully alive in the moment. That's where excellence lives. But to reach that state, you must train your mind to resist the constant pull of distraction. Every time you catch yourself drifting, bring yourself back. Every time your mind wanders, refocus on what matters. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. Focus is a skill, and like any skill, it gets stronger the more you practice it. The more you train your attention, the more control you gain over your results. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. And that's when everything changes. Because a focused mind can turn a small opportunity into a massive breakthrough. Think about how much energy is wasted in distraction. Worrying about what others think, scrolling endlessly, chasing validation, multitasking without meaning. That energy, if redirected into one clear purpose, could change your entire life. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary isn't intelligence or talent, it's sustained attention. Those who can focus longest win biggest. The world rewards those who can stay consistent in a distracted age. There will be days when your focus slips, when your mind feels scattered, when progress seems slow. That's normal. But every time you refocus, you strengthen your mental discipline. The more you resist distraction, the more control you gain over your own destiny. You start to realize that focus isn't a momentary act. It's a way of life. It's saying, "This is what I'm building, and nothing else deserves my energy right now." That level of commitment transforms ordinary work into extraordinary impact. So stop chasing everything. Choose your target, narrow your vision, and give it everything you've got. When your focus is aligned with your purpose, you move with a different kind of power. Quiet, steady, and unstoppable. The world will always try to pull your attention away, but remember, distractions are just tests to see how badly you want it. Master your focus, and you master your results. Because when your mind is clear, your path becomes inevitable. Adversity is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. Every setback, every obstacle, every moment that tests you is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid difficulty, but what they fail to see is that growth hides inside the very challenges they run from. The truth is, the path to success is never straight. It's filled with twists, detours, and storms meant to expose your strength, not your weakness. The difference between those who rise and those who fall lies in one simple choice. Do you see adversity as punishment or preparation? When life pushes you down, it's testing your foundation. It's asking, how badly do you really want it? Every dream will test your patience, your courage, and your self-belief. The people who succeed aren't the ones who avoid the storm. They're the ones who learn to dance in the rain. They understand that adversity doesn't block the path. It is the path. It's not there to break you. It's there to build you. And every time you refuse to quit, every time you choose to stand tall when it would be easier to walk away, you're proving that your purpose is stronger than your pain. The truth is, you never really know your strength until being strong is your only choice. Comfort doesn't create warriors. Adversity does. Pressure doesn't destroy diamonds. It defines them. Every challenge you face is refining your character, sharpening your vision, and preparing you for the next level. You can't develop courage in calm waters. You develop it when the waves are crashing around you, and you still choose to steer forward. The struggles you're facing right now aren't signs of failure. They're signs that you're in the process of transformation. The mind plays a powerful role in how you respond to adversity. When you see a problem, your brain immediately looks for a way out. But when you see that same problem as an opportunity, your brain shifts gears. It starts looking for a way through. That shift in perception changes everything. The moment you decide to treat every setback as a lesson, every delay as training, and every failure as feedback, you become unstoppable. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstance, but as a student of experience. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" That's where growth begins. Adversity strips away the unnecessary and reveals what truly matters. It forces you to confront your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, the very things holding you back from becoming your best self. When everything feels uncertain, that's when you learn to trust yourself. When everything feels heavy, that's when you learn how strong you are. The pain you feel today is not there to defeat you, it's there to refine you. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the moments that hurt the most were the ones that taught you the most. Every successful person you admire has faced adversity. They've been told no. They've failed. They've been rejected, doubted, and misunderstood. But they didn't let that define them. They let it drive them. They turned pain into purpose, rejection into redirection, and obstacles into stepping stones. They used adversity as fuel to climb higher. Because once you've learned to turn struggle into strength, you become untouchable. Life can knock you down, but it can't keep you there. Because you've learned how to rise. Resilience isn't about never falling, it's about always getting back up. Every comeback story begins with a decision. A decision to not give up, even when everything seems against you. It's about having faith in the process when the results aren't visible yet. You can't control the storms that come your way, but you can control how you sail through them. And sometimes, the very thing you thought would destroy you ends up becoming the reason you succeed. When you face adversity, you have two choices. You can let it harden your heart, or you can let it strengthen your spirit. One leads to bitterness, the other to greatness. Every time you push through, you expand your capacity for growth. You build emotional armor, not to block life, but to walk through it with confidence. And soon, what used to scare you no longer does. What used to overwhelm you becomes routine. What once seemed impossible becomes your new standard. So when life tests you, and it will, don't run from it. Stand tall. Breathe. Remember that every challenge has a purpose, even if you can't see it yet. Your struggle today is the seed of your strength tomorrow. Every difficult season is preparing you for something greater. You may not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that adversity didn't stop you. It shaped you. It taught you to fight, to adapt, to believe. And in that moment, you'll know every storm you survived was never meant to break you. It was meant to build the unstoppable version of you that you were always destined to become. The greatest victory isn't winning against others. It's winning against your own doubts. So stop waiting for the world to give you confidence. Build it. Stop chasing motivation. Train discipline. And stop fearing failure, because the mind trained to win doesn't fear losing. It learns, adjusts, and comes back stronger. This is Wisdom in Minutes Audiobooks, reminding you success starts in your mind, and once you master that, you can win in any situation.